Hey everyone, in this video, let's do a comparison of Kling AI and Halo AI, aka Minimax. In order to do so, we'll start here with Halo. And if you are unfamiliar with either platform, they are primarily devoted to video generation. They are both considered a couple of the top platforms that are out there, and for good reason. They both have really nice results. Now, we're going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we'll do an honest review here of the positive things of both platforms and also some of the negative things. Now, we'll go ahead and start with Halo. And what we'll do is we will start here with something that's pretty good. In this case, this was a text prompt that I did. And you can see here what the prompt is for yourself. And one of the things that Halo is going to do if you enable it is that it will optimize your prompt. So that's what we have here. We have an optimized prompt. The original prompt that I used was less detailed than this, but Halo will take your prompt and it will embellish and refine and make it as tight as possible. So this is something that I did, and I wanted to do sort of like just a music video type thing, and something kind of simple that can be repeated um, over a period of about a 5 minute song. So what Halo generated was this kind of cool anime style image of this guy here with the movement in the back. And what I was able to do is take it into a video editor and just put that on repeat. And you can see for yourself here some really nice results, cool looking anime style. And I like what's going on here in the background. It worked out pretty well. So that is a good example of something that we did in Halo. Let's just take a couple looks at a couple other things here. So here's our sexy DJ girl, and she's got some dancing robots with her. And you can see here for yourself that the results are pretty good. There's a little bit of distortion, as you can see right there, and that's something that unfortunately you're always going to get a little bit of that, and it's hard to avoid. And that's sort of the ugly, you might say, of both Halo and Kling, and pretty much any video generator. The fact is that you're paying a subscription, you're paying for credits, and a lot of those credits end up getting wasted. But here you can see this one's a little bit tighter, a little bit better. There's a little bit of weirdness going on there with her hand. Let's try a couple of other examples. So this is a little bit more consistent, you can see there. But if you look in the background, some of there can be a little bit of distortion and stuff. But for the most part, this is a pretty tight example. So one of the things here, let's go ahead and go down and we'll see a couple of other examples that we can use as well. So here's this one was pretty cool. Some nice detail here. As far as what I was going for this, not quite what I was looking for, but still pretty cool. I like the way that her helmet kind of snaps off and you get to see her face there. But I would also say that this is somewhere where you might get a cool result, but then you might have to take it into a video editor and do some fine tuning. So in this case, I had to reverse this. And, I wanted to kind of start off with her looking at the portal and then flipping around, and then she gets the helmet on, which is kind of cool. So that's a good example. Then here we'll see another one. Here's our guy drinking a cup of coffee on a bus, and really nice results here. This one is particularly good. At the end of the day, when it comes to a lot of these generations, it's a little bit hit and miss, and there's always a little bit of roll of the dice, and sometimes you have to try a couple times to really get what you want. But generally speaking, the results in both Halo and Kling can be really quite nice. And then here's some nice kind of, this one's really quite nice. This is sort of an animated cartoon type style of a bunch of mice cheering on at a race, and that one really turned out quite nice. So those are examples of the good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bad. So we're going to compare here something that I did in Halo and then also something that I did in Kling, just to kind of give you an example of the results that you kind of get. So in this case, what I did for this one is I used the character reference option. It's pretty new here in Halo, and you can put in your character. In this case, I've got her face here, and I use the same prompt for both. So a woman wearing leather rides on back of a black futuristic motorcycle driven by a man wearing a black hood and a black peacoat with his face obscured by a black mask. They're riding through the city pursued by cars, cinematic action movie, high quality 8K. So, I was looking for her to be riding on the back with him on his motorcycle, but then it kind of put her on her own motorcycle. And then we get this kind of weird jump thing. Now, as far as her look goes, looks pretty cool. I like her outfit. I like the bike that she's wearing. I like her hair and everything. If it didn't do this jump thing here, then I would probably be able to use this in some way. But unfortunately, it might be usable for something, but not exactly what I was looking for. So we'll just kind of go back here. You can see here that this in Minimax is the subject reference. And this is something that's a little bit new, as I said. So I entered in the character's face and put in the details and ran that there, and that was the result that we got. So it's one of those things where that cost me credits to do that, and that's a little bit frustrating. um, it is what it is, though. That's how it is. Unfortunately, with video generation, there's a little bit of the roll of the dice. You got to try to get your prompt as specific as possible, but a lot of times the AI might get confused. So there's, if I were to spend more time trying to really dial in our prompt and everything, then I might be able to get a better result from that. But sometimes you only can learn by making a mistake. So you make the mistake and then you got to go in and fix your prompt. So let's go ahead and compare this same prompt and visual with what we did in Kling. And with Kling, the option that I used was elements. And elements is where you can add up to 4 different images. And in this case, I just added the single image, and then I put in our prompt, the exact same one as before. And this one got closer to what I wanted, but you can see that it's really quite wacky, and we're not seeing her face. But I would say that this is much closer to what I was going for. There's some kind of cool kinetic action going on here, and the problem though is the cars are going the wrong direction. They're going the wrong direction. They're sliding all over the place, but pretty close though, pretty close. So that is kind of like a more negative example. Let's see something that's a little bit more positive. Let me see if I can find. I think it's this one here. So this one here is pretty consistent throughout from beginning to end. We get a really nice shot of him on the bike, and it all stays really nice and consistent. Here, let's just take a look at another example. That's not quite the one that I was looking for. Is it this one here? Let's see. Nope, that's not the one here. So we got our sort of superhero character here who's saving the day. But you could see here, this one's pretty good. Some cool looking robots here. But again, really nice shot. Lot of distortion here at the beginning. Some cool stuff going on with the camera zooming in, but then we get a little bit of distortion there on that guy. So, with shots like this, the only thing you can really do is either start from scratch, or in editing, you can cut out all the stuff that doesn't really quite work. We'll take a look here at something that's a little bit more consistent throughout. So here we have our leading lady, and she's wearing a red dress and singing her heart out. And you can see that this one is really quite nice, really quite consistent. And so between the two of them, it's again, it's a roll of the dice. Sometimes you get some really nice stuff. Other times it just really doesn't quite turn out the way that you want. But this one here is really quite nice. Now, we'll take a look here at some of the similarities with Halo and some of the differences with Halo and Kling. They both do text to video. They both do image to video. But the main thing that Kling does, which Halo doesn't, and it's the main reason why I went with Kling over Halo, is because it does lip sync. And I haven't tried it out here with this character yet, but let's see here. I will pull up a different example so that you can see how the lip sync works. And when it works, it really works quite well. And one of the things that is a really nice aspect of Kling that I have tried with other platforms but was not getting quite the results that I was looking for is that Kling will add motion. You can have motion in your characters and the lip sync. So that's a big deal in terms of getting something that's more dynamic and authentic. So we'll just take a look here at this one. And let's try that again. One more time. So yeah, you could see there, really quite nice with the lip sync. She's walking through the hall, and we're seems pretty tight with the lip sync. A little bit of weirdness here at the end, but for the most part, really quite nice. And some of those edges, jagged edges, so to speak, can be fixed in editing. But that is the main reason that I would go with Kling over Halo. Halo has some really nice options, but it doesn't have lip sync. And let's just kind of take a look here with Kling, some of the other things that we can do. So we have our text to video here. And if we scroll down, one of the things that you can do with Kling that is also really nice is you have your option for either standard mode or professional mode. You also have an option between duration, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I'll have to check about the aspect ratio on Halo, but that's another part here that's really nice is you can specify what your aspect ratio is. You can change the amount of generations that you're going to do. So that's also quite nice because sometimes that's the best way to avoid errors and issues. If you do multiple generations, then usually you can pick the best one. Again, the problem though with that is that you're spending money. So that's something to take into consideration. We also have camera movement. Now we need to be on 1.5, Kling 1.5 in order to, it's not even the 1.5, is it 1.0? Interesting. Okay. Oh, I see. It says 10 seconds. It's unavailable with the 10 seconds. So we got to put that to 5 seconds. There we go. Now we've got our camera movement. Let me put that back to 1.5. Yeah. So the camera movement is only available with the 1.0. So that's kind of a downside. It depends on what you're doing. But you can click here and you have a variety of options for the camera movement. So if I were to say zoom, for example, and then if we toggle that, then that's going to either give us a zoom in or a zoom out. So having that kind of control is really quite nice. Here we have our negative prompt here. And, all of this stuff is, the more that you get used to it, the more that you can really dial it in and you end up with less errors. But it is a process to get to that point. We'll take a look here at image to video as well. And, first we have frames. And frames, this is kind of more a direct example of video generation. We just have our one area here that we can drop in and we can select from our history. So if you've uploaded something before, then you can reuse that and redo it. We also have access to motion brush. That's a big deal too. The fact that you can isolate a specific object and have that have motion separate from everything else. That's a big deal. That's something that larger platforms like Runway and other things like that have access to. So having access to all of those little controls is a really big deal, and it's one of the reasons why I went with the Kling subscription. I did do a Halo subscription, but let's just do a comparison here of pricing, and I think that's probably a good place to leave it. So here with the pricing, we have our standard monthly, and well, let's see here. We got to go down a little bit. Okay, so we have our free plan, which is basically you get daily credits, so that's quite nice. That is one of the things about Halo that is quite nice. Now, Kling also has free credits as well, so they both are competing in that regard. But we've got our different subscriptions, and we have the year subscription. We've got the pro subscription, the unlimited. Looking at the monthly here, so this was kind of the big deal for me here, actually with Kling, sorry. But here we did the $10. You get 1,000 credits, and that sounds nice, 1,000 credits. But the fact is each generation costs 30 credits, so you burn through that pretty quick. But $10 for 1,000, that's not too bad. But it doesn't have a lot of the same controls, camera controls, things like that Kling does. A lot of that you can do in your prompts, like camera movement and things like that. If you specify in your prompt, then you can do it that way. But having those additional controls in Kling is kind of a big deal. So, and then of course the lip sync, that's a big deal as well. There's also a couple other options here that are important to note. We have the chat. So this is actually a chat bot that that Halo gives you access to. So something like Chat GPT. So if you ever want to come in here and try to refine your prompts and get more dialed in as far as that goes, then you can do that. Also, there's audio. So that's another really nice thing too. So, this is similar to other platforms where you can do text to speech. You can you can clone your voice. So you can turn your voice and, and clone that, and then you can use that for text to speech and for a lot of different things. So really, really cool that they have that as an option. But that to me is, there's other platforms that do that as well. And the main concern that I have personally between the two would be the lip sync. So if lip sync is something that's important to you, then you're probably, in my opinion, you're probably going to want to go with Kling. Let's take a closer look at Kling here. Let's look at the memberships and see what it is that you get with the memberships. So the yearly, the standard $79, I believe that with Halo for the standard, it is 107. Now they both have sales right now, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here really quick. Yeah, they're both kind of doing sales right now. The difference here being, you get 1,000 credits for $10 or $15 rather, if you want to consider how much that's going to cost without the sale. They're both quite comparable in this regard. The amount of credits that you get and the pricing, they're kind of on par. Let's take a look at the monthly here. So, but the thing is, right, you're $7 per month or $10 per month, but then you can see here that you get 660 credits versus the 1,000 credits that you get with Halo. Now, that being said, the pro version, which is what I went with, is under $30, which is quite nice. Now, that is on sale at the moment, but you get 3,000 credits per month. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is kind of a big deal. The fact that you get 3,000 credits for under $30, and you have access to lip sync, and you have access to a lot of other things. If I were to have a time machine and go back in time and say, where should you invest your time? It's nice to try out different platforms and see what works. But at the end of the day, with the different platforms that I've played with, I really think that when it comes to the value that you get and the quality that you get, to me, Kling at this point has taken the gold home for me. Now, there are other platforms that do things that I would pay subscriptions for specifically using those functions. For example, Act One with Runway. That's a reason, in my opinion, to take advantage of that. That's where you can record yourself speaking lines, acting essentially, and then you can use the AI to overlay that on top of your performance. So that to me is a little bit more dynamic and desirable than just kind of a general lip sync. But that being said, the lip sync that Kling does is really quite nice. But when it comes to really dialing in that performance and getting something that is more authentic, using something like Act One with Runway is kind of a big deal. But that being said, the lip sync with Kling is really quite nice. And overall, when it comes to the whole package and having all the different tools that you might need to really do something of a higher quality, I think at this point, Kling to me really stands out. There's other platforms that might do similar things, but for me, the price point and all the tools that you get, I think Kling is the king. So that's all there is to it. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment and like and subscribe for more helpful tips.